never seen this, or I've never had it growing up in the Caribbean. Due to necessity and making use of ingredients I started making this not too long ago. And what I mean is curry tomato. Maybe in India and out in the Asian countries there's a version of this, but as far as the Caribbean is concerned, I have never seen it, or mommy has never made it for us. I have 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Use whatever oil you like. We've got 4 cloves of garlic and half a teaspoon of mustard seeds. Yeah, you've never seen me cook with mustard seeds until today. And necessity, when I speak about necessity, what I mean is, if you saw the video I did where I processed 25 pounds of tomato for making choka during the winter months, I mentioned, and I know you guys can see over here, I mentioned that some of the tomato were not perfect, so I cut those up. I tossed out the ends which were bad, and I left them to make specifically this recipe. Additionally, when I have tomatoes in my garden, so you will see this is a mix of the tomatoes from my garden from what was left over from making that tomato choka for the winter time. That video is brilliant. Go watch it. I am very proud of that video. So if you have a lot of tomatoes, you're looking for something vegan, something vegetarian, something ital, something will just cozy up to it, a nice piece of roti or even some rice, if all fails, get some bread. What I say, video gonna be long. That is who I am. That is my video format. I know the next question you all will have, and that is just on a medium low heat. I'm not trying to burn anything, and I did smash the garlic even though it made it look whole. You're probably wondering about the pot. This is a pot. I know everybody always wants to know, Chris, where you get your pot, where you get your spoon, where you get it. Listen, we live all over the world, yeah? So if I told you where I got it, chances are you can't even find the store, but I ain't trying to be rude. This I found in the Hamilton Farmers Market. There is a Mexican vendor there that has these pots, and from time to time, it is a clay pot, glazed and painted on the inside. From time to time, I tend to bring it out and use it. Onion. Big pieces of onion because I want this to be very chunky. Now I'm going to pull out all the flavor from that onion, that garlic, that mustard seed. So we need to go for about 3 or 4 minutes on that medium-low heat. As the fun happens in there, and notice how quickly it's starting to go translucent. I've got 1 bay leaf. I'm just going to crush up just a little bit like so. Toss that in there. I want that bay leaf to add magical notes. Magical notes, abracadabra. While you can make this as spicy as you want, I'm not really going for heat, but I found these peppers that Kiana brought home from where she works. They have a little garden there for the children, and what I did was I cut up 2 of those. Again, big pieces. I did leave some of the seeds, as you can see in there. That is going to give me the heat element that I desire from this curry tomato. Yeah, not tomato curry. No, we're not swinging left field. No, sir. People get that. All right. Time for some fresh ground black pepper. At this point, I'm going to go in with a tablespoon of curry powder. You free to use your favorite curry powder. Wow, took on an accent there one time, boy. Tongue curling and all kind of Chris, you're going to get into trouble, sir. Anyhow, your favorite curry powder. Now remember, if you're doing this gluten-free, read the ingredient list on your curry powder. I have found some curry powder to have fillers. That's all I'm gonna say. Read the label. I ain't trying to point out in the wrong direction. We just want to cook this for another 3 minutes. The kitchen is smelling absolutely delicious. I ain't gonna lie. At this point, I'm gonna turn my heat up to medium, and I have here 2 cups of pureed tomato. Yeah, so I took some of the tomato, put it into my little magic blender kind of thing there. Bzz, bzz. Add a tablespoon of water if you need to, and organize accordingly. What we need to do now is maintain that medium heat We're gonna burn off the liquid in the tomato, thus intensifying the overall flavor here. And speaking about flavor, this is where I would go in with my sea salt. Give that another stir. And there are going to be 3 elements of tomato in this curry tomato. First of all, we're going to have the pureed or blended or crushed tomato in there. Fresh tomatoes, like I said, a combination from my garden as well as what was left over from that other recipe. I've got some in chunks and I've got some cherry tomato. 10 minutes later, and this is what we have, a nice thick slurry, and you'll start seeing the oil that we started with rise to the surface. Like right here, that means most or if not all of the liquid from the tomato has burnt off. So we are exactly on track. I'm telling you, boy, things smelling proper. And you see that big piece of garlic? I'm telling you later, Uncle Chris going in and enjoy that. Time for the tomato. And my reason for using 3 different formats of tomato is very simple. I want different textures. If you've ever been to the East Indian restaurants, the Indian restaurants, whenever they make their masala and all of that, they usually finish it off with big chunks of tomato. And that thing just sucks up all that flavor, and when you're eating it on your rice or whatever, boom! Explosion of goodness in your mouth. So that is the whole idea here. Hit that a little mixy mix as it starts sucking up all that lovely flavor from the start there. I've got some turmeric, a lot of antioxidant properties in there, a tiny bit of cinnamon. Yep, cinnamon is going to bring a sweetness to this. If you know your tomato is a bit tart, you can add a tablespoon or a teaspoon, one or the other, according to how sweet you want it, of golden brown sugar. And the last thing to go in there, we've got some masala, and that is just ground masala you would find at your West Indian grocery store. I'm sure you can find it online as well too. I'm just going to add a splash of water to this, a tablespoon or 2 of water, just to get a bit more sauce going. I know you're probably thinking, well, Chris, we burnt off all that liquid for you to add liquid. Yeah, but we add other flavor ingredients there, you notice, eh? Now here's where you're gonna personalize things. I want that tomato chunky in there. It's been cooking for 4.5, almost 5 minutes since we added the large pieces of tomato along with the other spices in there. Taste it for salt at this point. Adjust the salt to your liking. The other thing is you will get to control the consistency and texture and viscosity of the gravy or the sauce. I'm having this with sada roti, so I'm on good there. What I will do, however, is add my cherry tomato in there, and that's going to be little bombs of flavor that's going to explode in your mouth. We spoke about this earlier. And for that punch at the end, I've got chives from my garden. Yeah, most people will want to finish up with shadabeni or cilantro, which is coriander, but I might want that chives in there. Not only is it fresh from my garden, and that's why I want to use it, it will finish off the dish, the curry tomato, with a lovely garlic onion note. The other thing I forgot to mention earlier when I added a couple tablespoons of water, if you wanted to add some coconut milk in here, it will give it a lovely sweet element as well too. Sup soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me, email address down here. I'm really trying to tell people the email address, then Butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pod. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie? I'm gonna turn off my stove because this clay pot that I used will retain a lot of heat. It will soften up and further cook the cherry tomato in there for me. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com, not necessarily a Caribbean restaurant. Recipe, but out of necessity, I man rock this one, yeah? I hope you guys get an opportunity to try this one. You're gonna love it, man. You're gonna love it. What's up, soldiers? Don't forget to click subscribe. If you've already clicked subscribe, hit that bell notification thing. I want to all you missing out on the new videos, man. Come on, click.